Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? There's a couple of things happening over in Iraq that I think are interesting, plus some good news as far as where Iraq stands despite the political turmoil. Before we get into that, though, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, now's the time to buy that shine. It definitely is on sale. Go to our friends over there at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you're a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get a free half ounce of silver. All right, here we go. It says the framework reveals a unified agreement led by the legal paths to dissolve the parliament. Now, whenever you hear the coordination framework stating that they found a way, a legal path to dissolve the parliament, you got to take it with a grain of salt. They've already lost a ton of seats this last election, which means they're losing support. Why would they want to go to early elections and sacrifice the positions that they're in now, which is a position of power, although nothing has been accomplished, and risk losing everything? And I mean everything. And having Sodders get in control and then go after those people for corruption. If they come up with a path, this is definitely going to be interesting to see. I just don't believe it at the moment. Say the leader of the coordination framework revealed a consensus between the framework forces on a principle that addresses the problem of early elections. Some political forces are offering the option of going to early parliamentary elections to resolve the political blockage in the country. And this proposal has already been discussed more than once in the coordination framework meetings during the past weeks. Yeah, and every single time was no. Not to mention they're claiming there's something like 94% of the PMs inside Parliament are refusing to go to early election. So what's changed? There is a consensus amongst the framework forces on a unified principle regarding the introduction of early elections, which includes submitting the request to the Parliament sessions after their return, and they are discussed according to the approved tracks. And the Parliament comes out with a decisive decision as it represents all the components of the people. Elections are an important decision that can be decided by a political bloc or alliance, and it needs legal cover. So I guess what they're trying to say here is these elections are not an important decision that can be decided by a political bloc or an alliance. You would need legal cover. Got it. He pointed out that even the next government will have an option on the file of early elections. Again, which will cost the country treasury somewhere around 250 to 300 million US dollars, and a great effort by the commission in different directions, stressing that the decision of the fate of the early elections would be within the corridors of the House of Representatives. I just don't see them agreeing to that. There's got to be a lot of things being promised to these people if they can get them to do it. A source close to the coordinated framework revealed early today, Saturday, an extraordinary meeting of the framework forces, the aim of which is to discuss the file of repeating the sessions of the House of Representatives. The framework forces agreed to hold an extraordinary meeting tomorrow, Monday, in Baghdad, in the presence of the leaders of the political parties and blocs or their representatives, in order to discuss the file of repeating the sessions in the House of Representatives after a hiatus of several weeks. So the framework sees this resumption of Parliament sessions through pressure in accordance with the legal tracks as a priority, as a beginning to the end of the political crisis, stressing that the forces will discuss the file of submitting a request for the signatures of all the Parliament's deputies and their allies to the President of the House of Representatives and developments regarding it. Pointed out that so far the choice of the candidate for the position of the first Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives has not been decided in light of the presence of the four options so far, but efforts are continuing in order to agree on a personality and put it forward in the first sessions of the Parliament in order to vote. So they got their hands full, and it seems like every time they try to make a step forward, it just gets blocked for one reason or another. Right here it's saying Biden's coalition reveals the international trend to solve the Iraqi political crisis through dialogue. So he's hoping that through dialogue is going to be the best results for getting whatever issues they have squashed. But I see where Sauter's coming from. Why do we want to put the same corrupt people that robbed from the Iraqi people, that allowed ISIS to come in and establish a caliphate? Why do you want those people back in power? He wants to see people be accountable for what happened in Iraq during those times. And unfortunately for him, the people that are going to be held accountable happen to be most of the coordinated framework. Interesting to see where they go. It's almost been a year. October the 10th will be 1 year since early elections, and no government has been formed yet. Sauter confirms the pursuit of reform and the fight against the corrupt, and denounces the abuse of countries in the 40s. So you can see right here, Sauter's not going to bend. There's just no way in heck. He is determined to hold those individuals accountable for corruption and what they did to the country. If you guys remember, there was a couple of generals who came out and said they were disgusted with Maliki during the time when ISIS was invaded Iraq, because the generals were told to stand down and allow ISIS into some of these cities, including the capital. If they're going to go ahead and bring that out to the public, and the public finds out about it, although I'm sure a big chunk of people already know this because it was in the newspaper, is that who you want for your leader? As somebody who's just going to surrender automatically to a terrorist group and allow them to establish a caliphate there in Iraq? Thousands of people were killed. And the truth is, it almost looks like Maliki allowed those people to come in. They wanted to establish Islamic State, which is exactly what Iran wants, is for Iraq to be Islamic State. I know Iran was sending some people over to help fight ISIS, but how much of a fight were they really putting up? Or what is that old saying? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Use them for as much as you can. Get what you want to establish there, and then take it over. Sauter affirmed on Saturday his adherence to the slogan of reform in the political process and fighting the corrupt in the joints of the Iraqi state, while denouncing the abuse of some countries during the commemoration of the ceremonies of the 40th visit of Imam Hussein. Sauter said in a tweet to him on social media platforms on the occasion at the end of the Arbeen ceremony of Imam Hussein, "We should not depart from the essence of the revolution of Imam Hussein and the goals for which he came out, and it is known that the most important of which are reform and fighting corruption. As he says, life with the oppressor of Burma." Sauter went on to say the abuse of some visitors from outside of Iraq, especially the Iranian brothers, was great regret. This is not our morals, nor what the people of the house taught us. Sauter continued by saying the matter is also connected to the attack on some of the countries that some consider hostile to the Husseini's rights or in violation of the policies of some, as in the Gulf countries and their rulers, adding that this is also not our morals, for even if he accepts these hostilities, we want to guide them, not antagonize them. So here it says the Kurdish officials, the two main parties in the region, will go to Baghdad with one candidate for the post of president of Iraq. This article goes on to talk about, before they even start getting into who's going to be the candidate and who they're putting up there, they want some agreements made in advance before they move forward with this. And I saw this coming. They had already mentioned it. They having a problem with the gas laws. The Supreme Judiciary Court overruled an agreement that was made and has since ordered the seizing of all the money and books and contracts and rights to oil in Kurdistan. And so Kurdistan, they're not going to put up with it. I'm sure when they go over there, self-preservation is in mind. They're going to say, look, we'll agree to a candidate that you want, only if you give us back our gas and oil. And I'm pretty sure that's what they're heading for, because Kurdistan does hold a very key position in whether or not they move forward as well with the new government. So we'll keep an eye on it. But some people are thinking that Burham Saleh is a candidate that they're putting forward. But I do think it depends on what kind of agreement they come up with in writing as far as the gas and oil law. Well, I thought this bit of news was interesting. Iraq ranks 47th amongst the largest economies in the world. It said an American economic report revealed today, Saturday, that Iraq ranked 47th globally and 4th in the Arab world in the largest economies in 2022, while the United States ranks 1st in the world and Saudi Arabia at the Arab level. I mean, this is great news for Iraq, but can you imagine had they had a government formed where they would be today? Having a strong economy is a huge part of them revaluing the Iraqi dinar. The other two steps are still moving forward, which is the accumulation of gold and the accumulation of foreign currency assets. They keep accumulating them in large amounts of them. Those will just help strengthen the dinar. Again, a strong economy and a stable country would be two huge key parts. So the economy is not doing bad, could be doing a whole lot better considering everything that's going on. So congrats to Iraq, despite the fact that they're in political chaos, and they still managed to do very well economically. But they still got to get away from relying so much on oil revenues to finance their budget. So Khamenei is seriously ill. Interesting. So it was Al-Hadi who retired, I believe, and he said he turned over, or he instructed his followers to turn towards Ali Khamenei as spiritual leader. So this guy's sick and it looks like he's getting ready to die. What does this mean? Al-Hadi's retired. I guess what's going to happen is this Khamenei might suggest who his followers turn to. So is the death of Khamenei going to affect Sadr one way or another as far as his followers, as far as his popularity? I don't think so. But with Al-Hadi retiring and telling his followers to turn to Khamenei, and now Khamenei looks like he's about to die, we're going to find out real quick who is going to be the big dog in charge based on who Khamenei points out. So the government's still in turmoil and chaos and still has not formed a new government. Congrats to Iraq for having a pretty strong economy despite all the crap that's going on. But again, it just makes you realize how much stronger it could have been had they been able to form a government, passed a budget, and got a lot more accomplished without the stalemate. They would definitely be higher than 47th place, that's for sure. But a good economy and a stable government, stable country, strong gold reserves, strong foreign currency reserves, all these things help strengthen the Iraqi dinar. Those will be the things that would help push the Iraqi dinar forward as far as revaluing the Iraqi dinar. Anyways, that's it for now. You guys let me know what you think down in the comments. I look forward to them, and I will catch you later. I'm out.